It is the heart, for example, of the waiting father of the prodigal son, who waits and waits and waits. And when everybody else has given up, and when other people have turned to bitterness, his arms are open to receive the son when he comes home, no matter what he has done. Love is patient with people. Secondly, love is kind. We saw that the root meaning of the word means love is useful to other people. It spends itself on others. Thirdly, love envieth not. Love is never jealous. The Corinthian assembly was jealous. There was a party spirit. There were factions and fightings. But love never does become jealous, because love never seeks anything for itself, so it never wants what somebody else has. And since it loves somebody else so much, it is thoroughly pleased that somebody else has what he has. Fourthly, we saw that love is never boastful, and we saw the root meaning there is windbag. Love is not a windbag shooting off its mouth about its accomplishments. Since love is far more concerned that somebody else receive the honor, love doesn't have a lot to say about itself. Arnold Bittlinger hits particularly at the Corinthian issue when he says, quote, love does not even gossip about sensational miracles, visions, and prophecies, etc. And we're seeing that even today. Boasting is designed to make other people feel inferior. Love would never do that. Fifthly, love is not puffed up. And we saw that this is talking about the inner attitude that results in the windbag mouth. The word physao means blowing, and that's what puffed up comes from. And blowing, you take a balloon or whatever and you blow it up. And the word simply means to exaggerate. And when a person is physao, when a person is blown up, he's blown up or exaggerated his own image of himself. A person who exaggerates his concept of the facts about himself. And the result with all that hot air blown up inside is it's going to come out. So somebody blown up on the inside is going to be a windbag on the outside. Those two go together. All right, number 6 we learned in verse 5. Love does not behave itself rudely. Rude people are self-centered. They are saying, I will do what I want, the way I want, whether you like it or not, and that's rude, but love is never rude. Love always takes into consideration how someone else is going to feel, how they're going to respond, so it never behaves rudely. It's never indifferent of the feelings of others. It's never contemptuous or disdainful of others' attitudes and proprieties. 7th, and we're still reviewing, and this is really the key to the whole section. Love seeks not its own, verse 5 says. Love seeks not its own. Love is not selfish. The Corinthians, of course, were so very selfish. They sought only personal edification, personal satisfaction. Love seeks the satisfaction and the edification of others. It is selfless. Then we closed our study last time by discussing the 8th of these qualities in verse 5. Love is not provoked. And we saw that the word provoke literally means irritated or upset or angry. Love never gets irritated. Love never gets upset. Love never gets angry. Now, it can be used, this word can, in a good sense, of righteous indignation. For example, in Acts chapter 17 and verse 16, it says, and the Apostle Paul was waiting for them in the city of Athens, and his spirit was stirred within him when he saw the city wholly given over to idolatry. And it uses the same word there when it says his heart was stirred. He was upset, he was irritated, and he was angry about idolatry. Now that's righteous indignation. He was angry because something was an affront to God. But what Paul is talking about here is not that. He is saying love never gets angry when somebody offends you. It's not talking about God's character being brought into ill repute. It's not talking about defending the righteous nature of God. It's simply talking about personal relationships. And love doesn't get irritated when it is offended by another person. It doesn't get upset. It doesn't get angry. And we went into some detail talking about that last time. And William Barclay says there are in this world only 2 kinds of people: those who are continually thinking of their rights and those who are continually thinking of their duties. And your duty is to love. And you can boil it down to that. It's simple. If you have a problem getting irritated and upset, If you have a problem getting angry, getting mad, losing your control, losing your temper, it's because you have a mindset that is selfish. In other words, your whole preoccupation is self-centered. You're driving down the road. Simple illustration we've all been through. You're driving down the road, and there's just, a little space between you and the guy in front, and some guy whips in front of you. See? And what happens? Choom, up goes the thermometer. Dirty, Why? What's the difference? The difference is you wanted that territory. That's mine. See, that's the attitude. And somebody took away your rights. And the reason you got mad is because you had a preset mind to determine that you are the one who matters. It doesn't matter that he had to go somewhere too, and that was a possible option that he had. Or you see it when two lanes go into one lane. And you see some guy going like this and stepping on the gas so he can stay 1 inch off the bumper in front so you can't get in. And how do you handle that? Do you mind? Or do you find yourself beginning to get angry? It will depend upon whether your mindset is selfish or selfless. That's simple. So when people get angry and upset and irritated, and they say, well, I have a right, I can't help it, the circumstance. No, it isn't the circumstance. It's the preoccupation of your mind that you matter, that your rights matter, that your territory is invincible, and when somebody steps into your territory or violates your rights, they trigger that anger because you've already preconceived that you have those rights. But where you consider nothing your right, but everything your duty, you'll never have a problem. Because people can offend you again and again, and your only response is that since my duty is to love them, this is just another wonderful opportunity. You look at the Apostle Paul, for example, and you see a man who never retaliated. Why? Because he never saw himself having any rights. He never retaliated. The only thing that angered Paul was the things that angered God. He was defending God's righteousness, but he never cursed the people who stoned him. He never got mad at somebody who got in his way when he was trying to preach a sermon. He never lambasted somebody who threw him in jail. He never said nasty things about the Jewish people who finally got him imprisoned. He never cursed the people who took him and chained him in Rome. Why? Because he never saw anybody as violating his rights, because he never considered anything a right. It was only a matter of everything being a duty. And the duty was always to love. But in Corinthian church, you did one thing to offend a Corinthian brother, and look at chapter 6, the next thing you know, you're in court. He's suing you. They were busy defending their rights.